Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Early Wine, and it is not fall anymore. It's hot.
It's summer again. What do they call that?
Indian summer. But I think that's more September.
Yeah, I don't even think this is Indian summer. I think this is just like summer number 27.
I think Indian summer always hits the last weekend of September, the day of Apple
or October.
Yeah,
it's even in October, I think, sometimes.
It's hot, yeah. That last
and then
bit.
there's blackberry summer. What's that?
Blackberry winter. Winter is like when you think winter's over, but then you have one cold snap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Indian summer and blackberry winter, but
okay.
But yeah, so it's that Indian summer's not yet because it's still summer.
Yeah, it's still summer.
It's still summer.
I just don't want it to be summer.
Well, we had that one really weird cool.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man,
it really hasn't been the worst summer. I shouldn't complain too much, but
No.
I was daydreaming on the way here about like what it would be like to just buy a summer house in Vermont and like go. I know, right? Like I could totally live here most of the year, but like July, August, September,
then you would go away.
Yeah. You know, like some people want to go away during the winter. Mm-hmm. I don't. I want to go away during the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to leave in the winter time. Yeah, I like taking that January tropical trip.
Yeah.
I don't know if I will this year or not. I don't know. That Mediterranean cruise was a little pricey, so I'm still trying to recoup from that. And then property taxes went up and all that kind of stuff.
Everything went up.
Everything's going
up, 100%.
Yeah.
Higher than they were last year.
So it's kind of like, I don't know if we will. I don't know what Connor's plans are. Him and Connor's probably going to get married sometime next year. And I don't know if it's going to be a wedding or a tropical wedding. I don't know.
Yeah, you might need to save some vacation money for that if they go somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I tried to. He was home this last weekend. I'm like, so what's the game plan? I don't know. Well, I don't know if we're going to do this or we're going to do that. So that'll be it's Connor, so it's last minute.
Yeah.
But on Friday, my baby's golden birthday. He's 30 on the 30th.
Is he coming home for that?
No, he's in a wedding this weekend. So, so he came home this last weekend. Well, we went Saturday after I worked at the shop for a little bit. Then we went Saturday to. He was playing in a softball tournament. It was weird because it was iron workers, all the unions, carpenters unions, all these unions get together and they do this big thing. And they give you a wristband and you can have food. It's just like
fun.
Just like some sort of like picnic type thing. And they were playing baseball. So we jumped in the convertible, which I thought it was going to be cool, but it was hot. It was still 90 that day. So with me and my hot flashes, that didn't go over real well.
Well, you can put the top up and turn the air on.
We didn't. We left it down. When you're in a convertible, you never put the top up.
Yeah.
And that car you can't see. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a difficult car to drive, and it's 17 years old, so it doesn't have the bells and whistles where you're.
I know. I feel the same way when I drive my Mustang. Yeah, it's old, and I don't have a backup camera. And
it's like you got to drive it.
I have to use Jason's like, use your mirrors. I'm like, I know how to use the mirrors, but I've gotten used to that backup camera. And in the Mustang, the back glass is technically plastic, not glass. Well, maybe it is glass.
Mine's
but anyway,
plastic.
It's hard to see.
And it's only about this big.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's a dead spot. That car, even when I drove it for the 5 years when I was paying for it, and I didn't park it and only get it out every once in a while, till I got it paid for. I had to drive it. And it's difficult. And, this car that I have now, it would bring you here and bring you there and backup cameras and zing if you're coming out. But yeah, we made it. And then we went. Have you been to Grafton, Illinois? Oh my gosh. It is a river town right on the Mississippi.
Cool.
It's the neatest little town.
Cool. What'd you do there?
Well, we went and ate because it was starting to get late, and we went and ate, and it's almost got it's like the Mississippi's right there, and they have like a water park there. They have a beautiful park campground right there, and it's got it's just a river town, neat shopping, neat food.
How far away is it?
2.5 hours.
Wow.
Road
trip.
I'm almost thinking if I won the lottery, I'd probably buy a house over in Grafton after I buy Salem Springs.
Yeah.
It was neat because then people were renting boats and there's all these cute, neat little islands out there in the middle of the Mississippi.
Cool.
And they're taking boats and.
Yeah, I want to go there.
And I also saw that Viking River cruise.
It went by.
It went by.
I want to do one of those. Have you thought about that? I'm not a big cruise fan because you've all heard my honeymoon story. I don't want to do an ocean cruise, but a river cruise.
You would see because you can see
I would totally. Well, there's not going to be a hurricane.
There's not going to be a hurricane, and you're not going to.
Yeah.
And if you fall over, you can just swim right to the.
Maybe.
It was neat, but those cruises, those like cruises you can take like that, are probably twice as expensive as like. I checked into like one of them Vikings, like, well, that might be fun.
I know.
How fun would it be to take a Mississippi cruise, down the Mississippi to New Orleans, or you know what I mean, or Belzoni, Mississippi, or wherever.
I checked into them too. Pricey.
Yikes! Like $10,000-$15,000.
Yeah.
And the cruise ship's not that. It's not big.
Yeah. No, there's
Maybe
not.
that's why
There's not activities really on board. I read an article about that. Like, there's very little things to do on board because you stop so much at all the different towns.
I would love it.
I would love it too. And so we'll just have to add that to our list of things that we'll do when you win the lottery.
Okay.
Buy Sailor Springs, buy a house in Grafton, and then pay for a cruise on Viking River cruises for both of us.
Got it.
Okay.
Are we taking anybody else, or just me and you?
I don't know. I mean, I have to say, I don't think Jason has any desire to do like another ocean cruise, but I think he would probably totally do a river cruise with me.
Jim might do a river. He might do that. Especially when you're stopped. But they stop there. Oh, my gosh. It's just...
I could travel all the time, but my husband, he's more of a homebody.
Now, Jim will travel. Jim will go.
And I think maybe, I don't know, maybe Jason will more as he gets older, but I think he'd totally do a river cruise.
Yeah. It was neat. I was like, oh, my gosh, there goes that Viking ship. And the road's just neat. And it's like, it's just kind of... It's you go through Alton and you're on the Illinois side. I don't know. Grafton was really neat. Jim apparently had taken a motorcycle trip there. And we're like, oh my gosh, they got these cute little cabins to rent. It's like,
fun.
They got a water park there and lots of cute.
Yeah, sounds like a good little getaway.
Yeah, it was a good little getaway, and it was hot, but it did get hot. But we watched Connor play, and it's so funny because you're with all these union workers. You got linemen there and the iron workers there. We're talking the backbone of America is basically who I spent the day with Saturday. I mean, these are the guys that are continuing to build the country. Right? They keep us going. All these union workers, road crews, and builders and stuff like that. And there's children everywhere, and the language
was not good.
Yeah, well, because these men, these 20, 30-somethings, and some older guys were out there playing slow pitch softball, and they're like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my, there's children here. It was like a company picnic.
Yeah, I have a problem with that, and I feel like the younger people don't recognize that as much of a problem as the older. I don't think they recognize it. I don't think that some of them even realize those are bad words that they're using, and I don't think they even know how often they're using language like that. They've gotten into such a habit of just it's part of their words that I don't even think they know.
Yeah, it's kind of like your oil field workers, and like that. I mean, there is that group because Mac was a lineman before he became a farmer, but and Mac would just be like, oh man, you talk about language, So Mac was never a cusser. And now Connor, I'd be like, Connor, little, because every once in a while he'd be like, sorry, Mom, something would slip, and I'd be like, William. No, I don't care if you're going to be 30.
Right.
But he could, but like out there in that element, I'm just like, oh my, the little kids are just running around getting daddy a beer and.
Well, the thing, those kids are immune to it too, and that's why so many of them talk like that too.
I'm not immune to it.
I have heard stories from school teachers, and those kids use language like.
Now, when I get mad, you've been around me. When I get mad, you know how I am. When I get mad, I can let her fly, but then it's like, okay, dear Jesus, please forgive me for. But I don't take the Lord's name in vain because that's a top 10. You don't take the Lord's name, but I heard that a lot. I was like, ooh, that hurts. Ooh. Yeah. But it was just kind of funny. But they had a good time.
It sounds like a fun day, though.
It was. I mean, you got this wristband. They had hot dogs and they had beer, you could get, it was just like a big, I'm like, is this a, Connor's like, yeah. But what the thing that was really neat about it, though, is because, like, we hadn't met anybody that Connor works with. And they were, like, the foremans and, like, the owners and all these people were there. And, of course, Connor's, you know how Connor feels about his parents. We're the greatest people he thinks in the entire world. Connor's that kid. And he was like, oh, when we first got there, he, of course, saw us pull in. So what's he do? He walks over,
Good. He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. Helps me, come on, Mom, and literally he's like, oh, hey, Growl, whatever his name. This is my mom. Oh, you're State. Oh, but nice to meet you. He talks about, oh, we know so much about you and all this
that was
stuff.
good.
And every single person that we talked to was like, man, you've got a good kid there. That is a good kid. And
good.
It was.
That makes you feel good as a parent.
It does.
You did something right.
We did. I get it. When people see me, I saw Mac the other day. Man, he's a good idea. But like to hear these gruff,
Yeah.
Boy, that's a hard worker. If I go down to Texas from this one thing, I'm taking Connor with me. Yeah, he'll hard. Yeah, I got everywhere we went. This. And then I really like this one guy because I looked like total, because I've been melting all the way there and my hair was up and, and I worked till noon. It was a last minute, hey, Connor's playing. You want to go? Why not?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a cooler day, but it wasn't. And anyway, and this one guy came over there and was like, oh, yeah, you're Connor's mom. I see where he gets his good looks. And I went, well, I like you. He's like, yeah, Connor, you didn't tell me your mom was a looker. And I'm like, oh, boy, somebody's a smooth talker.
Yeah, smooth talker, especially if you were windblown and sweaty.
I was like, be real. Yeah, go to your mom's. I said, I don't know who you are, but I like you. But yeah, so it was a good, it was a good thing. And then Jim and Connor was like, I'll go home and take a, of course, then he came home the next day, Sunday, to get a haircut because he had to get a haircut and to see me. And so I'm like, honey, just go, because he was going to, I guess there's like this football time of year where like you go and you do this. Everybody like goes and you pick winners and stuff.
Oh, it's like the virtual
the
football
draft something.
Yeah, what's that called? There's a name for it. It's like when you have a virtual team or something. I don't know.
Something. They were going to do that, and I'm like, but he was gonna. Connor was like, oh, I want to go out with my, So we were there, and the guys were like, hey, we're going. He's like, no, my mom and dad's here. I'm gonna go out with my mom and dad. And I'm like, oh, Dad and I are just gonna run to Grafton, and then we're just gonna, just go, go have fun. And he's like, okay. So then they came back. He's like, my mom ditched me. Her and dad are going to Grafton. Mom said I could go out with you.
My mom said I could go out.
It's like he's literally going to be 30 on Friday.
Oh, shoot.
But anyway, I picked out this. I've got this really neat. I'm probably going to be doing some baby ads because there's a really neat one from back in the day.
Okay.
I'm not sure what year this is, but it's got to be decently old. I'm probably thinking I don't know. Don't
60s,
even really know.
50s or 60s?
Yeah. But this is a cute little ad. It's a baby ad. Look at this. New Safeguard does more to help prevent diaper rash infection than any other leading bar of soap. Better than antibacterial effect, even in 7 of baby's most sensitive spots. Yet no bar of soap you can buy is milder. Do you remember Safeguard?
Yep.
I do too. But look at this. Look at that cute little redheaded baby. You can use this apparently between his little toes, the back of the knees, the diaper area, underarms, back of the ears, the scalp, and under the chin. Where I like this, where bacteria hide in chubby chin creases.
They do. Babies start to stink right there in their little chins. If that milk drips down their chin and then sits there, it gets all cheesy.
Yeah, I love it when it's like the sensitive 7. Those are the 7 places.
Okay.
From Procter and Gamble, but like I don't even think you can. Can you buy? You can still buy Safeguard.
I don't know.
I didn't realize that's because I would have never used a bar of soap on my babies.
No.
Because they're dry out.
But back then they had such weird advice on babies. I mean, I think I've told this story on another episode, but like my neighbor that she passed away like probably close to 10 years ago, and her name was, well, it doesn't matter, I'll leave it out, but she was super nice. But like when she only had one child, and when her child was a baby, she and he's probably, that child would probably be in his 70s today. That back then they said don't bathe your babies very often.
You told me that story.
And so I don't know about that. But you bathe them in baby oil. You can take the
picture off there, babe.
So she bathed him daily in baby oil instead of water.
Oh, that just makes me feel gross.
I'm like, how'd you even hold that child?
It? And why baby oil? That's just going to clog your skin.
I don't know, but that's what she did. That's what they said to do back then.
Yeah, I know. I think mine got it. mine pretty much got a bath. I think I bathe my babies every day, and just put lotion on them, and they smell so good.
Oh yeah, I think nowadays they're saying the new recommendation is you don't have to bathe your baby every day, but just like once a week or something. I don't know. Ty, you might try to Google that new recommendation on bathing babies. But yeah, someone told me that, and I'm like, I could have never done that when my kids were little, even when they were tiny babies, because they stunk. Like if you didn't get them, seriously, because of that milk
gets in their
milk drips down their chin. Even if you try to wipe it, and it gets into all those little crevices, and it starts to stink.
Yeah, no.
You know,
I mean,
and
how would you feel if you didn't take a bath bathe your kids.
Bathe them.
We're not psychiatrists or psychologists or doctors.
This is not professional advice. We're moms. We're advice. Just give the kid a bath every night.
Give the kid a bath and snuggle them because they're cute. All right. Well, we are going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back with a story for us.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're going to talk about a man named William Edgar Borah.
William Edgar Borah.
Borah, B-O-R-A-H. You know, there were some Borahs in Flora. Jill Lewis was a Borah, I believe. I didn't ask her. I should have if she was related to this guy. So William Edgar Borah was from Wayne County. He was a Fairfield kid.
Okay.
So he lived in Wayne County. So this is somewhat local story, and he did all kinds of stuff that I'd never even heard of this guy, but now that I've researched him, I'm like, holy cow, like
pretty cool,
pretty big stuff for a kid that was from Wayne County. So he was born, and this goes way back, so it's not anything recent. So 1865 he was born in Wayne County, near Fairfield in Jasper Township. His parents were William Nathan Borah, and his wife, and the mom's name was Elizabeth. And he figured out, this little William Edgar Borah, from an early age that he liked public speaking.
Oh, really?
Not very many people like public speaking.
No.
This kid did. So he went to school at Tom's Prairie School near Fairfield. And then in 1881, his dad sent him to Southern Illinois Academy at Enfield to train for the ministry. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Have you ever been to Enfield? It's tiny.
I've driven through it.
Yeah, there's
no reason to stop.
No, but I guess back in the day they had an academy or a college there to become a minister. Apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
That might be something to write down, check out.
Little William Edgar got expelled, though.
Uh-oh.
He got expelled for hitching rides on the Illinois Central Railroad to spend the night in Carmi. What do you think was in Carmi? That was so attractive to him.
How old is
Guessing it was a girl. Let's see. He was born in 1865, and this was 1881, so he was a teenager.
Yeah.
In his
16, right?
In his late teenage years, William became interested in the law, And his father finally accepted his ambition to be a lawyer rather than a preacher. So the kid wanted to be a lawyer, not a preacher. Dad was like, no, you're going to be a preacher. You're going to go to school here. Personally, I don't know how you could force somebody to be a preacher.
Well,
I didn't want to be a preacher. And if you did, like, they wouldn't be a very good preacher.
I think being a preacher is kind of a calling.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So in 1883, he went to live with his sister. Her name was Sue. And Sue lived out in Kansas, in a town called Lyons, Kansas. And she was married to an attorney.
Okay.
And that's what William wanted to be, was an attorney. So he began to read law under his brother-in-law's supervision. Back then, I think you could kind of go to school for law, but mainly it was like an apprenticeship deal, kind of, I think. So he did pass the bar examination in September of 1887, and then he went into a partnership with his brother-in-law. So they started a law partnership. Fast forward to October of 1890, and William boarded the Union Pacific Railroad and decided to settle in Boise, Idaho. I'm not sure why he would pick Idaho.
I don't know.
There can't have been much there in 1890.
I wouldn't think so.
But maybe there was. It was still not that long after the gold rush, like 20 years after
Maybe
the
that
gold
was
rush.
what.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. He decided to keep practicing law there, and he got super involved in politics.
Oh, so he's a political guy.
He's a political guy. This guy turns out to be like this huge politician, okay? In 1892, he served as chairman of the Republican State Central Committee, and he served as political secretary to Governor McConnell. Isn't there still like a Senator McConnell?
Yeah.
I wonder if they're related.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's Mitch.
Yeah.
Remember, he's Mitch McConnell's from Illinois.
Ugh. I don't like him. In 1895, Borah married the governor's daughter, Mary McConnell. So that's one way to get a step up.
That's why you
move up in the political world.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
marry somebody's daughter.
He married Mary, and they remained married until Borah's death, but they never had any children. Okay. So he's still in Idaho, and he is in state politics, and he decides to run for the House of Representatives.
Okay.
In 1896. But he didn't win. Okay. So then he decided to run for the United States Senate in 1903.
Okay.
And that one he won. And well, nope, he didn't win that one in 03. He was elected to the Senate in 1907. So he just kept trying. Like, I'm gonna be a politician.
Eventually gonna be a politician.
I'm gonna be a politician. I don't see the attraction there, but it was a different time.
Especially back then. You know, I know why people become politicians today: money, power, and greed.
Uh-huh.
There's no,
because they all become millionaires.
They all become millionaires after they're elected.
Uh-huh.
From their lobbyists. But back then, what would have been the drawback in the 1900s?
I don't know.
Was it probably still power?
Yeah. Okay, so he was elected to the Senate, the United States Senate, not the state Senate, the United States Senate in 1907, and he went to Washington, and he was immediately noticed for keeping his Western habits. Western habits, such as dress wear. What do they wear in the West?
Cowboy hats.
Cowboy hats.
Nice.
And
big old belt buckle.
This dude wore a 10-gallon hat.
Oh, do you have a picture of him?
I do have a picture of him, but I don't have one in his hat.
I want to see him.
That's him.
That's him?
This is William Edgar Borah. Ty, you might try to Google other pictures of him, see if we can find one of him in a 10-gallon hat.
Yeah, because if he was...
William Edgar Borah. Mm-hmm. This is him in his later years.
I like the picture.
Uh-huh.
With him holding his glasses. And
yeah, at first I thought he was in a wheelchair, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's not. He's just in a cool antique, what would be an antique chair now.
Nice to have.
But he's got his reading glasses there and some big law that he's probably getting ready to pass that is going to affect us for the rest of our lives.
That we're not gonna...
I'm getting to that part.
Oh, I think he found one.
Okay. Well,
I like this picture.
Yeah, let's see this one. Oh, there we go. Okay, there's William Edgar Borah.
Is he out by Little Toot?
It looks kind of like San Francisco, but I bet it's Washington, D.C. But there he is in his 10-gallon.
That's a neat picture that somebody got. That's a cool picture.
That is a cool picture.
I like it.
So this guy is definitely one you can find on Google. He has an enormous history. We're just touching on some of it today because when I get to the point of what he did, everyone is not going to like this guy.
Oh, boy. Well, don't
The
tell
tide
me.
is going to turn. Maybe I should give him a little teaser.
A teaser?
This guy invented the income tax. It's not much of a teaser. He's the reason why we're all paying income taxes.
Oh.
But I'm going to get to that part. Yeah. From Wayne County. His brilliant idea.
His brilliant idea. Thank you, Wayne County.
Thanks, Wayne County. Jeez.
He's responsible for the Illinois income tax.
No, for the federal.
The federal?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, I'm gonna quit rushing ahead. This is your story to tell. I'm gonna quit rushing ahead.
He didn't have anything to do with Illinois because he moved away when his father wanted to put him into preacher school.
Okay.
So he wanted to be a lawyer.
Went to preacher school.
So he went to Kansas and became an attorney, and then as far as I know, he never came back to Illinois.
He never came back to
unless
Illinois.
It was just to say hi to his mom and dad. But he didn't live here, and he didn't have anything to do with Illinois politics.
Okay. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so he rose in state politics in Idaho, though, and then he ended up getting elected as their senator, the Idaho senator, in 1907. And it was once he got to Washington, D.C., okay, Teddy Roosevelt was the president at the time. And at that time, new senators weren't allowed to, speak on the floor or speak at least for the first year. And then starting their second year of their term, they could speak. They could say stuff. I don't know why.
That's weird.
But he didn't wait. It was customary for junior senators to wait, but he did not because Teddy Roosevelt requested in April of 1908 that Borah speak, and he did. He spoke in defense of the president's dismissal of more than 200 African American soldiers in the Brownsville affair in Texas. So Teddy Roosevelt asked him to speak to kind of back him up on this. The Brownsville affair in Texas was a really big racial deal. It was basically there was a whole group of black soldiers that were staying near Brownsville, Texas, in a dormitory or something, and the citizens of the town did not like them because they were black, and they pinned. I can't remember what they accused him of. Might have been murder. I don't remember. Accused and anyway did some crime and then blamed it on these soldiers, and even I think planted evidence.
Oh yeah.
And so a whole bunch of these black soldiers then were dismissed from the army. They didn't get an honorable discharge. They were just you're out. And that meant they lost their pensions that they were going to have the rest of their life. And they lost, the ability to ever work for the government in any kind of government position again. So it was a really big deal.
Yeah.
And it was wrong.
Terribly
and it
wrong.
wasn't investigated properly, I don't think.
So he's going down to fight.
And so it sounds like this Borah spoke up in defense of Teddy Roosevelt and was like, no, it's fine. It's all handled. I don't know.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll
finish it.
Finish this story. We got a little bit more. Wow.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be.
Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield banking companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County, Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're discussing a man named William Edgar Borah from Wayne County, Illinois, and all of the political things that he did. And he's done a few things where I don't think he's my favorite person.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I do. I mean, it's cool that somebody from Wayne County went out and did something with, in the world, but I don't know.
Yeah, he seems to be a little bit.
He's a little bit different. So
now he's backing Roosevelt.
Yeah, he just backed President Roosevelt. Now, and I don't have that Brownsville affair story straight in my head right now because I didn't really research it before this. It's just going on what I remember about it. But it was a terrible deal. It was like if something like that were to happen today, there would be riots in the street.
There would be Well, it sounds terrible. What's it called?
Brownsville affair.
Brownsville affair. I probably don't have any, but yeah, you keep going. I'll see if I can.
So Borah fought with the Republican presidents in office between 1921 and 33. He was always disagreeing with the presidents. He was always like, there's nothing wrong with that, but he was always like, this isn't right. You're not doing this right, whatever. And then Calvin Coolidge offered to make Borah his running mate in 1924. But Borah did not accept. Borah actually campaigned for Herbert Hoover in 1928. Something he rarely did for presidential candidates, and he never did again. That was the only one he ever really truly supported. So back in the days that he was a senator, it was tariffs, okay? That was the main source of government revenue, was tariffs. This is like 1909. We're back to 1909.
We're back to 1909.
Efforts were underway to raise the tariff rates. And Borah proposed an income tax to be attached to the tariff bill. But this was unacceptable to President Taft. He said, no, we're not going to have an income tax along with these tariffs. Like, no.
Right.
So then Borah did what any other politician would do. And he just repackaged it as a different, something just slightly different package so that he still got his way. He repackaged it as a constitutional amendment, which passed the Senate unanimously and then the House. So to the surprise of many, it passed the necessary number of state legislatures by 1913 to become the 16th Amendment, and that is still our 16th Amendment. So is that we have income tax, and that's how the government pays for things.
Yeah.
Before, it was just tariffs and other taxes. Right. Now it's income tax. So the former Wayne County, Illinois resident, William Borah, is the man who made it necessary for us to all pay a federal income tax.
I have a little something here on the Brownsville affair.
Okay.
The Brownsville affair, or the Brownsville raid, was an incident of racial discrimination that occurred in 1906 in the southwestern United States due to resentment by the white residents of Brownsville, Texas, of the Buffalo Soldiers, black soldiers in a segregated unit stationed at nearby Fort Brown, when a white bartender was killed and a white police officer wounded by gunshots one night. Townspeople accused the members of the African-American 25th Infantry Regiment. Although their commanders said the soldiers had been in the barracks all night, evidence was allegedly planted against them.
Yeah, they hadn't even left their barracks.
They hadn't even left. As a result, the United States Army Inspector General's investigation President Theodore Roosevelt ordered the discharge without honor of 167 soldiers of that 25th Infantry Regiment, costing them pensions and preventing them from ever serving in federal civil service jobs. The case aroused national outrage in both black and white communities. After more investigation, several of the men were allowed to re-enlist.
Oh, well, good.
But, so it was basically like, it sounds to me like Roosevelt was like, you know what, we're just going to sweep this. Yeah, we're going to. But it does say, they ordered the discharge without, dishonorably discharged them all.
Not cool.
It's not cool.
Especially when there's proof they didn't even leave the barracks.
Right, they didn't leave the barracks, yeah. Yeah, I've never really heard, I don't think I've really ever heard that story.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it? That's a black mark on our society.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I always liked Teddy Roosevelt. I'm surprised he didn't have more
I
gumption.
know. I have a grand cat named Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, you may have to change that cat's name.
And he's black.
And he's black. You may have to change it to something else.
All right.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
Anyway, let me keep going. Let's see. So he got the 16th Amendment passed. He's the one that made it necessary that we all pay income taxes. And then he also had a hand in the other constitutional amendment to be ratified in 1913, the 17th Amendment that provided for the direct election of the senators by the people that we directly elect senators. He had a really good understanding of how the law worked. Mm-hmm. And when he didn't get his way with just saying to President Taft, hey, let's do an income tax, and Taft was like, no way.
No way.
He's like, oh, okay, you want to play that
lawyered
game?
It up. Yeah, he lawyered it up, yeah.
I'll just go through the Senate and the House, and we'll get it passed as an amendment, and you can't do a darn thing about it.
Anything about it, and there we go, income tax.
Okay, so then World War I came along in 1914, and Borah said the U.S. needs to stay out of it. He didn't want anything to do with World War I. He was talked about as a possible candidate for president in 1916, but he didn't have a whole lot of support. He was just one that was kind of talked about. He didn't have a whole lot of money, so he couldn't afford the campaign. After World War I ended, President Wilson was in favor of the League of Nations, which later became, I think, the, what's it called now? The League of Nations. It turned into something else, I think. They don't call it that anymore. But anyway, Borah opposed that, which, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that. He might have had the right idea there. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know about all this. But anyway, so his Senate term was set to expire in 1919. He was not a wealthy person and was hard hit by the cost of living in wartime Washington. So apparently back then, not all senators became millionaires.
No, I don't think they did.
So he considered leaving the Senate and he just wanted to practice law in a big New York law firm.
Okay.
But he also felt like he was really needed in the Senate and by the people of Idaho. And so both of the state's Senate seats would be up for election. And so he decided, what the heck, I'm going to do it again. So
the League of Nations is the United Nations now.
Yeah, United Nations. That's what I was trying to find.
There we go.
Borah received 2/3 of the vote for his bid for a third term. So third term in the Senate. He decided to stay, decided Idaho needed him. Okay. So Idaho had given women the right to vote in 1896. Mm-hmm. And Borah was a firm supporter of women's rights and women's suffrage. Okay.
Okay. So
he had that right.
There we go. We got that right.
Okay. However.
Oh, geez. There's never a good. No.
When I say however, it's like, oh, he supported women. However.
Usually if it's like, I say this, but everything before the but's a lie.
However, he did not support a constitutional amendment to accomplish this nationwide. He believed that
that doesn't make sense.
The states should have the requirement that the women could vote. That the states should not have it imposed on them.
Yeah.
But wait, he didn't feel like that about income tax. He didn't say, oh, well, states shouldn't have this income tax imposed on them. They should be able to make up their own mind whether they want to do an income tax.
Right. He did not do that.
He did not do that. But when it came to women, he was like, well, maybe they should have the right to vote, but that should be up to the state. We shouldn't make the state impose.
Make it a federal. So he was wishy-washy. He put it out there to get those votes, and then he was like, well, maybe not.
This guy sounds like a textbook politician.
He is a textbook politician.
And if you're watching this and he's your relative,
we're sorry.
We're sorry.
But it is.
Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Let's see.
Can't change the history.
Okay, so we're in 1919. June the 4th, the Senate voted with the House to have previously voted to approve the amendment of giving women the right to vote. It passed with a margin of 2 votes and was sent to the states for ratification. But Borah again voted no, one of only 8 Republicans to do so.
Really?
So he supported women's suffrage, but not really. Not really.
He voted no against it. No, so you don't get to say you support it and then vote
He
no.
didn't want an amendment.
He didn't want an amendment.
He just wanted the states to. He's okay with amendments when they're for him, but
Yeah.
when they're not, then no.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, fast forward to 1920. The 1920 Republican National Convention met in Chicago in June. Delegates faced a deadlock as to who would head the ticket. And as to the contents of the League plank of the party platform, I'm not sure what that means. Borah hated political schemes and the use of tobacco. So he didn't like political schemes, although I feel like he was a political scheme.
He is a political scheme.
But he played no part in the smoke-filled room discussions as the Republicans attempted to break the deadlock. So they're in these smoky rooms trying to decide who they're going to send to be their candidate, and he's like, I'm out. I'm not sitting there in the smoke, and I'm not going to listen to this deadlock and all these political schemes. So
that's kind of interesting.
He wouldn't stay for it. But he did endorse Warren Harding and his running mate Calvin Coolidge, and that's who ended up winning that election. Borah later stated that he would have left the Senate had Harding lost. So I don't know who was running against Harding that year, but that would have been something Borah would have left. Okay, so then fast forward another 4 years, because after Harding was president, Calvin Coolidge was president. He was Coolidge was Harding's vice, but then later he was elected in 24 as the president. But it said when Calvin Coolidge was nominated for election in the 1924 Republican National Convention, he offered the vice presidential nomination to Borah. Our little Borah here from Wayne County was offered to be vice president for Calvin Coolidge.
He turned it down.
The prospect of Borah as vice president disgusted Calvin Coolidge's cabinet members. They didn't like him. Disgusted. And other Republicans were also disgusted. So they were all very relieved when Borah turned down the offer.
I wonder why he turned it down. That seems weird that he's had this political ambition, but then got the chance to be the vice president and turned it down. But politics has been politics since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Borah spent less than $1,000 on his Senate re-election campaign that fall and gained a 4th term with just under 80% of the vote. I think he just really liked being in the Senate.
Probably.
I
feel like he probably had more power in the Senate.
Probably. In November 1924, Borah became the senior member of the Foreign Relations Committee and became its chairman. The Foreign Relations chairmanship greatly increased his political influence. So, see, he realized I have more power on this committee in the Senate than I do as a vice president. If I'm vice president, they're just going to tell me to hush up. They're just going to tell me
to be quiet. Okay, we're going to take another commercial break. Okay. We're going to finish up on this story on Mr. Borah.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Give me all your lumber. Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're talking about William Edgar Borah, the man that invented the income tax for the United States. He's from Wayne County, Illinois, and we kind of have a love-hate relationship with him.
I do have a love-hate relationship with him.
We're like proud of him that he's sort of a hometown boy and he went off to do good things in a big way, but also some of the things were like, ugh. Okay.
Yeah, income tax back.
He was against women voting. He wanted them to vote, but he didn't. Yeah, he was too wishy-washy.
He said he wanted to vote, but then he voted no to let him vote. So, no, he was against it.
Okay, so Borah had hopes to be elected president of the United States in 1928, but his only chance was a deadlocked Republican convention. So they couldn't decide who to elect, but it wasn't him. He reluctantly chose to support Herbert Hoover for president that year. Borah was a strong backer of prohibition. Okay.
Oh, really?
He wanted prohibition. He didn't smoke. He didn't drink. And he didn't believe in it. He's from Wayne County. This is the 1920s. Do you think if he went back to Wayne County during this time period, and he met up with the Shelton gang, pow, pow, pew, pew, Borah would be dead meat in Wayne County.
Imagine?
It's a really good thing he probably moved away, because he probably wouldn't. Okay.
Wonder if he ever came back to Wayne County.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Borah was a strong backer of prohibition, and the fact that Hoover was also dry, that's what they called him, a dry, influenced Borah in his support. Hoover was elected, and he thanked Borah for his support and offered to make Borah Secretary of State. Ooh, thanks for supporting me, other guy that wanted to be president, and now you're not and I am. How about if I give you the job of Secretary of State?
Right.
Borah declined because he preferred to remain in the Senate. Which I would have thought Secretary of State would have had quite a bit of power. But anyway,
I think they do. But
he wanted to stay in the Senate. So Borah was up for election in 1930, and over 70% of the vote went to him. Borah considered challenging Hoover for the presidential nomination in 1932, but concluded that the president's control over the party machinery, especially in the South, could not be overcome. So Borah disagreed with the platform of the 1932 Republican National Convention over prohibition. Basically, that was the big hang-up. He couldn't agree with them because of prohibition. The party renominated Hoover. So then there was a Democratic landslide that accompanied Franklin Roosevelt's election, and that cost Borah his chairmanship of the Foreign Relations Committee. Okay, so now the Democrats are in office. And Borah lost his chair, he was the chairman, not a Senate seat, but he was chairman of that Foreign Relations Committee that he had a lot of power on. Well, Roosevelt came along, and Franklin Roosevelt, not Teddy, and
FDR is on the scene.
FDR kicked him off of that as chairman and was like, no. But Borah still liked Roosevelt for his liberalism and his energy. But due to illness, Borah only took a limited role in Roosevelt's administration. So by this time, Borah's getting kind of old, and he's a little bit ill. So he didn't take a very big role. But then he decided to go ahead and run for the Republican nomination for president in 1936. He wasn't going to give up. His candidacy was opposed by the conservative Republican leadership, and Borah only managed to win a handful of delegates. But he was still on the ballot in Idaho, seeking a 6th term in the Senate. Still, I think there needs to be term limits. Even back then,
term limits have to be done.
The Democrats ran a serious campaign, but Borah still won with over 60% of the votes for his reelection bid in Idaho.
He was very well liked.
Those people in Idaho would always vote for Borah. Let's see. Borah retained a lot of influence. He was liked and respected by the Democrats, but this part's interesting. After Hitler took control of Germany in 1933, Borah thought well of the new chancellor. The chancellor is Hitler. He thought well of Hitler's social and economic programs. Let me read that to you again. Borah thought well of Hitler's economic and social programs. What in the world? Okay, so despite the Nazi mistreatment of the Jews, Borah did not speak out against Nazi Germany, though many urged him to do so. Aren't you glad he wasn't elected president?
I am glad he wasn't.
That would have changed the entire world. If he would have been president during World War II,
everything would change.
Everything would change. We would all be, right now, we would all be ran by Hitlers.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, and an entire race would have been wiped out.
Wow.
So Borah did not speak out against Nazi Germany. Borah felt that each nation had the right to run its own affairs. So he's like, hey, you know what? That's your country. You do what you want, boo. I'll do what I want over here. You do what you want.
Yeah,
that's great up to a certain point.
Unless you're slaughtering innocent people.
Yes, up to a certain point. Okay, you do you. But then at some point, you have to be like, no, you're taking over the world. Okay,
no,
you're killing millions of people. Okay, so he opposed large-scale immigration by Jews from Germany, feeling that was unrealistic with millions of Americans unemployed. So all these Jews wanted to immigrate at the time to the United States to get away from Germany. This guy was opposed to that. He voted against it. Do not let all these Jewish people into our country. Yeah. They're going to take our jobs. We already have an unemployment problem.
Yeah.
So even though they were...
They were real asylum seekers.
Yes,
They were the real asylum seekers, not like we have today.
So Borah wanted to visit Germany and see Hitler. He was hoping to settle the troubled international situation. He approached the German embassy in Washington through intermediaries, and the Germans approved the trip. So Germany was like, yeah, sure, send this guy over. We'll talk to him. Borah realized that such a journey would compromise him in foreign policy debates, so he decided not to go. But then in September 1939, after Germany invaded Poland and World War II began, Borah mourned. He said he mourned, oh, Lord, if only I could have talked to Hitler, all of this might have been averted. I think Borah's ego would not fit into this studio. I think he thought he could solve all the world's problems with just a conversation with Hitler.
But what would he have done? He didn't disagree with Hitler.
I know.
What would he have done?
Can I be in your Senate, Hitler? What would he have asked him? I don't know about this guy. Okay.
That's crazy.
Midway through his 6th term, on January the 19th, 1940, William Borah died in his sleep of a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 74 in his home in Washington, D.C. His state funeral at the U.S. Capitol building was held in the Senate chamber on Monday, January the 22nd. A second funeral was held 3 days later at the Idaho State Capitol in Boise, where Borah's casket lay beneath the rotunda for 6 hours prior to the service. An estimated 23,000 people passed by his casket. He's buried in Boise. But there is a statue of Borah in the Capitol building in Washington. Let's take a look at that.
Wow.
So if you go to Washington, D.C., and you go to the Capitol building, you will see this statue of William Borah in the Capitol. This guy is a hometown guy right here from Clay County, or from Wayne County, Illinois. So,
I don't know. He walked a line, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he did. He covered the line.
Yeah.
There's schools that are named for him in Idaho. Idaho's highest point is called Borah Peak. That was named for him in 1934. His house in Washington, D.C. is a National Historic Landmark. So if you're planning a trip to D.C. and you're interested in tying D.C. in with local history, you might visit that. It does say William Borah had his flaws.
I'd say.
One of them has to do with an affair.
Oh,
yeah. So thanks, Ty, for the picture. So he had an affair with his close friend, and this name might ring a bell if you know anything about history.
Yeah,
Alice Roosevelt.
Oh, yes,
Alice Roosevelt Longworth. She married a Longworth. That is the oldest child of Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah,
Teddy Roosevelt's oldest. That was his girlfriend, and he is actually the biological. So he never had any kids with his wife, but he had a daughter with Alice, and he's the biological father of her daughter, Paulina Longworth. They gave her who she thought probably was her dad.
Oh, wow.
His last name, but actually it's been proven that the biological father was this Borah. So he
has a lineage.
And so her name was Alice Roosevelt, and Paulina had a nickname, and everyone called her Aurora Borah Alice. Aurora Borealis. Like the.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that was her name, Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borah.
Criticism of Borah meant little to the people of Idaho, who sent him to the Senate 6 times over 30 years. The Idaho people knew he would listen to their problems and always show sympathetic understanding. So that is the story of William Edgar Borah from Wayne County, and the man that gave us income taxes.
But he's looking out for everybody's best interest.
Of course he is. He's in Washington, D.C. He loves the people.
You know, it is. I mean, politics are politics since the beginning of time.
I know.
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
They just get richer.
Yep.
But yeah. How crazy is that?
Yes. Crazy,
Wayne
crazy.
County.
Yep.
Yeah, and I can't believe I really had never, until you mentioned you were going to do this. I never really ever heard. Apparently, I mean, with statues and.
So when you get to the end of the story and you figure out Alice Roosevelt was his girlfriend, and then you back up a whole bunch of years to whenever he backed Teddy Roosevelt up with a speech about the Brownsville affair.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, there's kind of a love connection there with the Roosevelts. I don't know.
Kind of interesting.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Oh, the tangled webs.
The tangled webs they weave.
Yeah.
That's like a soap opera.
That is crazy.
So many of these people that we talk about on the show, like, we could totally make a made-for-TV movie about their life.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd watch it.
We still need to do that.
Yeah, I'd watch the movie about William Edgar Borah.
I would. Could you imagine?
I guess I'll just write one. I'll send it to Hollywood.
Okay, I'll help you write it.
Okay.
Because I want to be in on that too.
Okay.
Then we can make
Who
our money.
would we get to play William Edgar Borah?
Who would play Borah?
Kevin Costner?
No, maybe later. But we need a young Edgar.
Okay.
One of the Hemsworths.
Yeah.
That little shorter Hemsworth guy, because he wasn't a very big guy.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
The oldest Hemsworth brother. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, we got it all planned.
We did. We have then we'll have to find somebody to play Alice. Yeah, we have that girl that does who on the Addams Family. That little girl's hot right now.
Oh yeah,
the one that plays Wednesday
Addams. I can't think of her name.
I can't either, but we got a plan.
Yes, it's all come together.
It's all coming together.
Okay. Let's end the show with
a deep thought.
Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey.
If you were a gladiator in olden days, I bet the inefficiency of how the gladiator fights were organized and scheduled would just drive you up a wall.
Probably.
Probably.
How is he so sure they were inefficient?
I don't know.
Oh my!
I read through this. I get a little bit of a chuckle every time I read.
If you want to laugh, these will make you laugh.
Yeah, they're just so stupid. You gotta love them.
Yes.
Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey. You got a couple minutes. Tell people where they can watch us.
Okay,
Beth.
so as always, you can find us on Wabash Catch TV, channel 100, daily at 11 a.m. Our new episodes air on Thursdays and Fridays. All of our episodes are on YouTube, so if you want to catch us there, if you've missed an episode or two, you can find them on our YouTube channel, which is simply By the Way with Beth and Stacey, or you can even just type in Beth and Stacey, and we come up. You can find us on Facebook, like and follow us there. By the Way with Beth and Stacey is our Facebook page, and you can reach out to us with email, send us a show idea, request, comment, and it is By the Way with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com.
All right.
And that pretty well wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
God bless you and have a great day.